I got my P.Louise budget box and the theme is so cute. It is part of their Teddy Touch collection. So naturally we're going to be doing a full face of P.Louise. So let's get into my P.Louise budget box for the month of November. I am subscribed to the P.Louise subscription and this was actually November's box. So for this box, it shipped at the end of November and was supposed to arrive in December. But of course, with Christmas and everything like that, shipping was kind of delayed. So I didn't get my box until January, and then shortly after that, I also received December's budget box. So I have both of them with me. This is what November's budget box looks like, and it's called the Teddy Touch, and it's super cute. Let me show you guys what's included in this box. The first item in this box that you get is this Protect Your Pout lip balm, and this is in a glitter formula in the scent Coconut Cake. Now they are coming out with a Teddy Touch collection, but you would think it would be mostly makeup, and unfortunately it is mostly skincare. It's really cute. Now when it comes to these Protect Your Pout lip balms, this is the glitter formula, so it's a little bit different. It's a lot thicker, more hydrating. The original Protect Your Pout to me is just really thin. It really doesn't moisturize my lips. I feel like it leaves it more chapped, and my lips tend to break a little bit more and split whenever using that on its own. So I prefer using the Stay Shining lip oils. This is pretty much just like a clear lip balm with glitter, and it looks really good and the lips feel super juicy. The next item in this budget box is the Bare Essentials 10-piece brush set. So you do get 5 face brushes and 5 eye brushes. I love when P.Louise includes their brushes because I actually really like them, and these are so cute. So on these brushes you do get the teddy bears on it, and it also has the name of the brushes on the bottom of the handle. And the brushes are super soft. I love that it is white and brown packaging. It's just really cute. The last item in this budget box is the Teddy Tones eyeshadow palette. There's actually 3 palettes in one, so I love that. You get a cool tone color story, then you get a palette of shimmers, and then you have the warmer tones on the end. And this comes with a mirror, so I feel like this is the perfect travel palette. So for the budget box, you did only get 3 items, but you got a lot of product. So you did get a lip balm, you got a 10-piece brush set, and then 3 eyeshadow palettes in one. So in my book, that's a 10 out of 10. So we're gonna create a look with these products. To prep my under eyes, I'm gonna be using the P.Louise Rain On Me eye cream. And I am just applying that underneath the eyes. It does feel nice and cooling, or maybe that's just my hands being really cold. It is cooling down here in Texas, so I'm not really looking forward to that. It is supposed to snow this weekend, and I have a feeling it's just going to be a disaster. People can barely drive in the rain, so I can only imagine if there's ice and stuff on the roads. To prime my face, I'm going to be taking this Partner in Pink Sculpting Primer. I'm not really sure what a sculpting primer is, but this just really hydrates and moisturizes the skin. So I'm just going to use that all over the face. I'm going to go ahead and do my brows off camera, and we're going to come back and use the eyeshadow palette and these Teddy Touch brushes. The brows are done, so now we get to play with the eyeshadow palette. I'm so excited for this. For primer, I'm going to be taking the P.Louise Base in Rumor number 4. We're going to add that on the lid. I want to save the eye brushes for the actual eye look, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a different brush to just blend out this eye primer. I'm not really sure what kind of look I'm going to do. I kind of want to do something more like cool toned, but we will see. So we are starting with the warm tone side. I'm going to use this warm brown red right here, and I'm just going to use that and tap it into the crease. Even though I am going to be trying to play with more cooler tones, I want the crease to be a little bit warm. And this brush is more kind of flat, so just stamping on this product is super easy, and the brush is really soft and fluffy. And to blend out the edges, I'm going to take this shade right here, and this is like more of a golden color, and it is just going to help warm up the crease and diffuse those edges. This shade is pretty close to my skin tone, so it's just gonna lightly diffuse the edges. And to add some depth, I'm taking the cool tone side and I'm going into this shade right here. And I am going to add that to the outer corner and really build up the crease to just darken it up a little bit. Sorry, I have not been telling you what brushes I'm using. This is the E117. To blend out the edges, I used the E115. And to apply that first color into the crease, I used the E114. And I really do like how pointed this one is to really get into the crease. So now this is what the eye look is looking like. It's giving grunge, and I really like how it's coming out so far. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the crease. I'm gonna take this P.Louise cosmetic paint in the shade Nice and Saucy. And this formula is pretty thick, so you just wanna take a little bit at a time. To cut my crease, P.Louise does have some cut crease brushes, and they're somewhere in my collection, and I'm just not gonna keep getting up. So I'm gonna be taking this Michaels brush. My boo Tatanisha put me onto this, and this is the Princeton number 8 brush, and this is so good to cut the crease. And normally I would clean up this part of my eye, but I'm being lazy today. So we're just gonna go ahead and use this shade, and I'm just using tapping motions. As you can see, this paint is really pigmented. And I think these cosmetic paints and the P.Louise colored bases are just a fun way to enhance your eyeshadow look. Just taking a slightly fluffy brush, I'm just going to tap off the excess to make sure it's nice and blended, because when this baby sets, we don't want to have any creasing, so we don't want there to be too much product on the lid. And going back into that warm brown, I'm just going to use that on the outer edge right here on the lid to just kind of ombre this so that there's no harsh lines. And I feel like this would be really cute just matte, but I really want to play with the shimmers. For the shimmers, they have, it looks like there are different finishes. Some other shimmers are super shimmery and glittery, and some are more like satin. I'm gonna take this gray shimmer right here. I'm gonna spray the brush just to make sure there's no fallout. Usually with the P.Louise shimmers, they're more intense when you apply a glitter glue or use a setting spray. And that looks gorgeous. That is really pretty. And just to brighten it up, I took that white shade that was right above it, and we're gonna add it right on top. And that just really added some glitter and sparkle to the look. And I'm going back into that cool tone side, and I'm taking the second darkest shade. So it's the bottom shade that's next to the black, and I'm just gonna use this to apply on the lash line. And to go in the lower and go in the outer V a little bit. And I'm using the E117 to do this. The only brush that I didn't use for the eyes is the E116, and it is still like a fluffy brush. This would be really good in the crease too, and just to blend out further. I'm probably going to use this for my nose contour because I feel like this is going to add the perfect amount of color without making my nose look like really muddy. So I'm gonna save this for nose contour. And just to add a little bit more sparkle, I'm actually gonna take the liquid glitter. This is the Glisten to Your Heart Glitter Liner Duos. I'm gonna add Heart's Desire from their Glisten to Your Heart glitter liners. I'm just going to add this kind of in the crease area. Oh, that is gorgeous. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. And now I'm just taking a black liner, and I'm not gonna do a wing. I'm just gonna line the lash line. And these are the lashes that I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna be using these ones at the bottom, and that one is in Frosting Flutter. I'm not sure if they sell this style, but that's what I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna apply the lashes and do the other eye off camera, and we're gonna get into doing the rest of this face. So eyes are done, and this is what we're working with. I am super obsessed. I normally would add another pore filling primer, but I'm just gonna leave it using the Partner in Pink primer, and we're gonna do some underpainting. I'm gonna take my Cheek of It liquid bronzer in the shade So Cinnamon, and this is what I'm gonna use to bronze up the face. I really love how lightweight this formula is and how easy it is to just blend out. To blend out the bronzer, I'm going to be taking the F103, and I'm going to use this. This is pretty fluffy. It's not as dense as I am used to, but as you can see, everything is just melting into the skin really nicely. And I'm not being too precise with my bronzer on the nose. And for concealer, I'm going to be taking their sister brand because P.Louise does not have a concealer. So I'm going to take the Fine Cosmetics concealer in the shade 31 and 24 to brighten. I'm going to be taking the F106 to blend out the concealer. And I feel like this would be really good as well to set powder underneath the eye. And I really do like the Fine concealer because it is nice and hydrated, and as you can see, it has great coverage. So now I'm just taking that brightening concealer and I'm adding just a tiny bit, and I'm just gonna go over the nose right here. For blush, I kind of want to mix two shades. I'm gonna take this vibrant pink called Princess Treatment, and I'm gonna mix in this shade called So Sweetheart. And these are what the blush shades look like. And I'm going to take the F104, and I'm going to use this to apply the blush. Normally I like a more denser brush because, as you can see, it's not really adding on the product. It's definitely diffusing it, but I'm not getting the pigment that I want, because it is very fluffy. It's not densely packed. Usually the denser the brush, the more product it's gonna apply. But this is perfect if you don't want to go too blush crazy. I do like that it is a smaller brush, so I'm able to really focus it on those areas where I want, but I do wish that this brush was a little bit denser, but it's applying beautifully. I don't have any complaints about it. It's all blending out really nicely, and I'm just using tapping motions. Going back with that F106, I'm just going to take that to blend out this concealer. And I'm going to just go ahead and blend out that nose. For foundation, I'm going to be taking the NARS Natural Radiant in the shade Macao. And we're just going to put this everywhere to just kind of mesh between the places. And you don't really need a lot of product when doing the underpainting technique, so that's why I like to do this. I'm going to just refresh the skin using this Thayer's facial mist. And then we are just going to get to blending. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of that bronzer. To set underneath the under eyes, I'm going to go into the shade Caramel, and I'm going to be taking the P.Louise F105. And I'm just going to use that to set the under eye. And Caramel is pretty close to my skin tone, but we are going to brighten it up with a brightening one, but I wanted to use something a little bit more natural to set the under eye. And this is very smooth, it's mattifying, and I really like this powder. To set the bronzer, I'm going to go into the Cheek of It Baked Bronzer in the shade So Cinnamon. And I'm going to take the F102, and I'm just going to use that to set the bronzer. For my nose contour, I'm taking the E116, dipping into that powder bronzer, and I'm going to use this to sculpt the nose. For blush, I'm taking this Wrap It Up with P.Louise, and I'm going to be taking the P.Louise F41 for my powder blush, and I'm just going to mix these two shades. And to bake the face, I'm going to be taking the Glamlite Bake and Set Setting Powder. This is in Cookie Dough. And I'm just going to dust everything off using that bronzer brush. And to brighten up the under eyes, I'm taking this shade in Peach. And I haven't tried this, but these are pretty pigmented. Yeah. For my lip combo, I'm going to be taking the P.Louise lip liner in the shade Masterpiece. And I'm going to use that to line the lips. I'm going to take a little bit of this lipstick from P.Louise in Birthday Suit, and this one is really pale, so I'm just gonna tap this on. I'm going to take this highlighter palette that I got in my advent calendar. This is the Bake Your Move highlighter palette, And I'm just gonna mix all the shades and use that for my nose highlight. So I'm just going to mix them all and use that on the nose. And this is the final look. It's so cute. I really like it. I feel like my skin isn't as smooth as I'm used to because I didn't use my Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm powder, but I feel like overall it looks pretty okay. Let's get into my thoughts on this Teddy Touch budget box. Starting with the eyeshadow palette, this is definitely the star of the show. I do really like that you do get 3 palettes. You get warm tones, shimmers, and also cool tones. I wanted to focus more on the cool tones today, but naturally I am more gravitated towards the warm side, but I really like how this look came out. I feel like the matte version of this would just eat and just exude just like that 90s grunge feel. I didn't have any issues with the shadows blending, and they were pigmented, of course, so I'm really happy about this formula. I do want to kind of swatch some of the shimmers because they do look a little dull and lackluster in the palette. So I'm going to swatch a couple of the darker shades. So this is more of like a gold. Then I tried to do a silvery gray and a reddish bronze color. And as you can see, they're not super reflective. So as you can see, some of them do have glitter throughout, like the top 2, that's why they're more shimmery, but that bottom one is more of a satin finish. I do like the variety of the shimmer formulas, but to be honest, I'm really only gonna gravitate for the more blinding ones. That's really the only bad thing about this palette, is that some of the shimmers are really blinding and some of them are just like meh. Now when it comes to the brushes, I really don't have any complaints about them. They're super soft. They blend it out really nicely. I hope that they extend the brushes in here and come out with some more densely packed brushes. I feel like these face brushes are gonna be better when applying powder rather than cream. And the teddy bear packaging is just so cute. And as far as the Protect Your Pout glitter formula, I really do like this glitter formula. It feels really nice and comfortable. I actually want to add this Protect Your Pout lip balm on top of my lip combo just to see what it's gonna do. And this is what the glitter lip balm looks like on top. It's so pretty and it's thin. I don't feel like my lips are gonna just like smear everywhere. All in all, I would give this budget box a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed all of the products. Let me know what your favorite product was from this budget box, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.